Hey everyone, welcome to the Happy Flosser podcast. My name is Billy Lunt. I am your host, and I'm here to talk to you about all things dental hygiene to support you on your journey through the dental hygiene program. I hope that you recognize that the Happy Flosser podcast is a space where dental hygiene students, for you guys, you can come to breathe, reset, and remember that you are capable of so much more than you give yourselves credit for. Life is all about growth and progress, and progress comes from stress and strain. So, if you're listening today, there's a good chance that you're feeling the weight of this semester. Maybe your brain feels scattered. Maybe your to-do list feels endless. Maybe you're exhausted, overstimulated, or just trying to hold it together long enough to get through those hard final exams, or maybe even a smaller goal of getting through the next clinic day or the next competency. If that's you, I want you to know your faculty probably feel the very same way. So, what I want you to do is take a breath. I want you to know that you are in the right place. Today's episode is all about regaining focus, calming your nervous system, and finding your footing again so that you can finish this semester strong as you intended. You can remain steady and focused in the challenges and ultimately be proud of yourself. Because when you reflect back on the semester, the confidence comes from the progressive steps that you take. Okay. And that all comes with time. I was thinking about it. In order to get stronger, you have to work out and create pain. And that is the same thing with in order to have growth. You have to go through the trenches, right? You have to overcome the fear. You have to overcome the anxiety. And all of these challenging things that we face, we know that the growth happens through that process and that your goals are on the other side of those, the uncomfortableness, the things that we don't like to face. But they're necessary in order for us to get to where we want to go. So before we talk strategy on how to finish this semester strong, let's get your body out of stress mode. And maybe you're driving when you're listening to this. Perhaps you're on a walk or maybe you're sitting at a desk. I don't know. I'm just going to picture you as being maybe a little tense, right? So if you're sitting in the car or if you're sitting at a desk, I want you to sit comfortably. Think about what your jaw is doing. Kind of relax your jaw a little bit, unclench it. Most of you probably have linea alba from clenching your jaw through dental hygiene school. And I know we see that on our students when we all start doing intraoral exams on each other. Drop your shoulders, right? Shoulders back, but relaxed. Let your tongue fall from the roof of your mouth. And oftentimes we don't even realize that we're holding stress in our tongue, right? So the tongue is just kind of like pressed up against the roof of your mouth. So just let that fall from the roof of your mouth. Kind of feel the tension and the anxiety kind of spill away from your body, starting from the top of your head and kind of working its way all the way down your body. And now I want you to take a slow breath in through your nose and then hold it for a moment and then exhale gently. One more time. Take it in, hold it for a moment, and then exhale gently. I want you to know that your nervous system just shifted and you're already doing better than you were 2 minutes ago when you started listening. How about that, guys? Instant improvement. Okay. So here's the truth that students rarely hear. Your brain isn't broken. Although I hear students say, I don't know, I just can't remember anything. It all disappears when I start taking a test. Honestly, you're just overloaded. Think about the process of what you've been through this semester. Dental hygiene school demands constant attention, multitasking, which is a myth, right? You can't actually multitask, although we are required to in our profession. So being on the ready in all segments of an appointment, can really make us, it kind of sets us up for stress to begin with and feeling overloaded. And this is why there's such a high burnout rate in our profession, because multitasking is actually not a way that the human body is designed to endure. Okay. High stakes performances, man, that's going to overload you. I mean, there's no other way to evaluate you. The emotional strain and stress of managing patients. Some patients, no, think about this. Every single person operates at a certain frequency. And a lot of our patients are coming in at a frequency of dental anxiety, fear, strain, stress. They think we're judging them. Some of them have procrastinated and they know that the lecture, I guess, is coming. And so they come in a certain vibration. And as providers, we tend to take on the vibration of our patients, and that can be incredibly overloading. And then we have the physical fatigue of just our ergonomics and the stress and posture of holding ourselves in certain positions in order to actually perform our job, which can be incredibly taxing over time. Do I even need to mention the academic pressures of the courses that you are taking and the level of knowledge that you have to have? And then when you put yourself in a room of perfectionists, right? We have a perfectionism culture. We have a perfectionism mindset. You have to get all the calculus or you didn't meet competency. And it doesn't matter if 80 is the competency, 100 is the competency in a dental hygiene student's mind. That's just the way that it is. So your brain is not meant to operate at 100% under the load of everything I just said. So if you are just past midterm, which is when I'm publishing this episode, if you are just past midterm and you are getting ready and you're facing your final exams, maybe you're facing your board exams, maybe you have all these projects due, I just want you to know that it's not it's not unheard of for you to have a normal response to chronic stress, which is feeling scattered or anxious, or maybe you feel like you just can't focus or actually sit down to prepare for your boards or sit down to prepare for your final exams. And here's the empowering part. Once you actually understand what's happening, you can actually interpret the cycle a little better. So it gives you power over these words that you tend to use. Like when you just say, I'm not good at taking exams, or I just go blank when I'm reading the questions, or I can't decipher between one or two. There's always two good answers on the test, right? So some of these things come and they actually become our beliefs if we're not careful. So I want you to recognize when you're doing that to yourself, when you're actually saying things that aren't entirely true. They're just a response to how your body is feeling and acting as a result of the stress that you're under. So I want you to recognize that and realize that you actually have the power to kind of pivot and make some of these corrections. So let me give you a 3 simple step process that you can use at any time, whether it's before clinic, before studying, after studying, before an exam. Honestly, you can use this anytime when you start to feel like you're saying a lot of limiting beliefs or you're saying things that are actually causing you more stress instead of pulling you out of that stress. Um, the first thing is to clear your mental clutter. Grab a piece of paper. I always have a notebook with me. So today I have this happy, happy, happy notebook with me. I always have a notebook because I need to clear the mental clutter. And mental clutter doesn't necessarily have to be negative stuff. It can be positive stuff too. So for me, I have to have access to a clear piece of paper because if I have something kind of swirling around in my mind, whether it has something to do with school or home or work or maybe a relationship or something I have to do or something I'm concerned about, I just dump it onto the paper, right? For me, I dump it into my notebook. And then I know that I'm not going to forget it. I actually stop thinking about it and it clears my mind because I know there's something that happens in your head when you do that because it actually makes it so that you stop thinking about it. And that's the whole point, right? So resetting yourself to focus requires you to come up with ways to clear your mind. So if you get in the habit, it's been a game changer for me I have to tell you. So I write poems, as you guys know. Sometimes they come to me in the middle of the night. Is that crazy or what? And there's been times where I've had a poem come to me in the middle of the night and I did not get up and write it down. And in the morning it was gone. I couldn't remember it, even though I knew it was a really good one. It was speaking to me. So having my notepad, having my little book of a plain piece of paper where I can clear the mental clutter is so incredibly helpful for me. And like I said, it doesn't have to be all good stuff or all bad stuff. Don't judge it. Don't organize it. Just empty it out of your brain. It does not matter what you write down. It really doesn't. And I have to tell you, when I go back and look at some of my notes that I've written, I'm incredibly uh, just like bewildered on how much stuff actually comes out and then it's gone, honestly. And sometimes when I go back and read it, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I forgot about that. That was such a great idea. Or I didn't realize I was so stressed about that. So it's also going to help you later on when you reflect, because some of the concern comes when you have something in your head you don't want to forget. So having the ability to write it down on a clean piece of paper, knowing that you're not judging yourself, you don't have to organize it. You're just taking it out of your head, clearing out that mental clutter. Knowing that you can reference it back again also helps you feel a little bit better. The second strategy that I want you to use that really helps you reset your brain to focus is to choose one thing, right? We all have we all have all these things that we think of. So as a student, you're going into clinic today and you think of all the competencies you have still as requirements that you have to do, all of the things in the process of care that you have to accomplish with your patient. And that in and of itself can really start to feel pretty overwhelming. So what I want you to do is when you start noticing like all the things that you have in your head for clinic, I want you to think of one thing that would make the biggest difference for you if you accomplish that one thing today in clinic. Not necessarily the hardest thing, not necessarily the thing you've been avoiding. Maybe you're avoiding doing your occlusion assessment or something like that. That's not what I'm talking about. Not the things that look impressive to your peers. The thing that one thing that actually moves you forward. So once you choose that one thing, everything else becomes optional. Your brain loves a clear task. It actually calms the nervous system and actually creates motivation for you. And here's the deal. What you focus on, you magnify. So that one thing that you decide to do today in clinic, you are just the chances of you accomplishing that task goes way up because now you've kind of moved everything out of the way and you're streamlining down the road, right? It's like getting rid of all the potholes that are in your way to accomplish that one task. That is such a great strategy. Guys, I do this every day. Sometimes I have 10 or 12 balls in the air that I'm juggling. And I would not tell you a strategy to use if it's not tried, tested, and true in my own life. Okay. These are things that I have tried out myself and they are proven to work. Okay. I am telling you, every day I have this huge list of things I have to do. And I'm like, you know what? What is the one thing that if I get this done today? Now, I always have three things on my list. As I told you, I try to prioritize and have three things that I've got to do today. But the first thing on the list is the one thing that I'm totally focused on. Because if I can get that done, if I can focus on that and really put that at the forefront of my mind, everything else just kind of calms down. And then I actually accomplish that goal, which is amazing. And then my brain is totally dialed in. And that is what I want for you. So that is something that I would strategically try to help you with an overloaded brain as you near the end of the semester. And here's the third strategy. Work in a calm, focused interval. I feel like 20 minutes, it takes 20 minutes to get our brain into like the zone. Okay. And this might be different for every single one of you. For some of you, you can only focus for 20 minutes. For me, it takes me 20 minutes to really get into the zone of focus. So, what I like to tell students is to find your focus interval, figure out what length of time it takes you to get into focus. That means no distractions, turning off your phone, and really dialing in. So for most of the students that I talk to, it's an hour. So what I would say is if you set a timer for an hour on your phone and you give yourself, I have to focus until the timer ends, and then honestly give yourself that commitment. When that timer goes off, stretch, drink water, take a breath, take a 3 minute break, go for a little walk, try to do active recall on everything that you just focused your attention on, kind of do like a little debrief in your mind to make sure that you were effective with your focus time. And this method really works. And you could decide if you want to do 1 round of focus time, 2 rounds of focus time, right? Some of these strategies that people do for like focused interval are repetitive. But decide if you want to do another round. And maybe some days you can and some days you can't. But this method works because it respects your brain's limits while still building momentum for you on either learning a new task or a key concept or reviewing tough content or preparation, whatever it is whatever it is. But if you actually build a focused intention time, it really goes a long way at helping you accomplish these tasks in bite-sized pieces. So I would say the average student takes about 20 minutes as well to get themselves into focus time. So I would say 20 minutes to get yourself into the focus, and then another 20 minutes to actually learn the key concept. And then the last 20 minutes would be active recall. So that's really a sweet spot. So that would look like putting the timer on for 40 minutes. And then when the timer goes off, you spend that last 20 minutes doing active recall. I would love for you to try that out and see if that helps you. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. It's been honestly a game changer for me, guys. Honestly, I do 2 hour intervals. I know that it takes me 20 minutes to get focused, but I can be incredibly creative, incredibly productive, and incredibly focused if I know that it's only a 2 hour time limit. And the important part of that whole entire strategy is to make sure that you set the timer to end so that your brain knows that there's a limit. So your brain knows, okay, I only have to put this kind of intensity in until the timer goes off. Okay. So it's almost like a little hack for your brain. All right. And then, honestly, guys, the next thing I want to talk about is calming your anxiety in the moment because your brain doesn't know the difference between nervousness and excitement. And I've talked about that in several episodes, and that's totally fine. What I want to just touch on is, Mel Robbins' 5 4 3 2 1. I absolutely love that. She does a 5 4 3 2 1 where you count backwards before a competency, during a tough patient, or when you're studying and nothing is sticking. So, one of the techniques I really love about calming your anxiety in the moment is the 5 4 3 2 1 reset. So, Mel Robbins just says you count back from 5 to 1, and it's supposed to do something to your brain. It pulls you out of panic and back into your body. But what I do is I look for 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, and you have to just take the time to do that, right? And then 2 things you can smell and 1 thing you can taste. When you actually focus on the 5 4 3 2 1 thing, it's this crazy thing that happens. It's almost like because sometimes we're just not connected to ourselves, right? And honestly, if you actually pause, you can hear your heart beating, right? Maybe you can smell the essential oils that you have going in your room. I always have like an essential oil diffuser going. I love that. I don't know why. Lemon, let me just see what I have here. I have lemon sensation, and then I have, what's the other one here? Sweet orange. These are my 2 essentials that I constantly have going. And I don't know, maybe I need to step out of the box and try a couple of new ones. But that reset, it does pull you out of that stressful overwhelm. And then I talked about box breathing just a couple of weeks ago, and so you can try the box breathing method as well. So let's not leave that one off my list. And here's the other thing that I think is super important to just mention. Sometimes you have to name it to tame it, right? So say it out loud in your mind. I am feeling pressure, or I am feeling anxious, or I am feeling overwhelmed. Labeling your emotions actually reduces the intensity of them, and your brain stops fighting it. and starts processing it. Like, what does that mean? How can I get through this? Right. And that's where the I'm excited, right? Because when you're getting on a roller coaster ride, you're nervous, you're anxious. It's a high stakes moment, but you're also excited. And so your body and brain do not know the difference. So those are some of the ways that you can start processing that feeling. And right now, guys, it might feel like everything is urgent. Everything is high stakes. Everything is make it or break it. But here's the truth that I know. You do not need to be perfect in order to finish strong. You need to be steady. You need to be consistent. Finishing this semester is not about grinding yourself into exhaustion or memorizing every single little detail or comparing yourself to the progress of your classmates or proving your worth to the faculty. It's about consistency. It's about compassion for yourself. It's about doing the next right thing to move you toward your goal. It's about trusting your growth and trusting your progress. You're not behind. You're not failing. You're not alone. You are learning. And guys, I don't know if you've noticed it. Learning is messy. And if you don't believe learning is messy, go back to my first episode. I'm still not a podcaster. I'm still learning. I'm still growing and I'm still improving. But if you want to judge, go back to my first couple of episodes when I had to do like 95 edits and it took me hours and hours and hours to actually record one 20-minute episode because I just did not know what to say, how to say it. I was overly critiquing myself. It was just messy. To be totally honest with you, I don't even edit anymore. I literally just put it out to the world because I am an imperfect human. And I'm like, you know what? If I'm telling my students they have to be at 80% competency, then I feel like my podcast needs to get about an 80% grade. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Am I authentic? 100%. Am I doing it for the right reasons? You know that I am. I want to be here for you as a student through all of your challenges and the rest just works itself out. So when you are learning, learning is messy. Okay. I'm telling you, you are becoming the hygienist that you are meant to be, one day, one patient, and one exam at a time. Just like I'm becoming a podcaster that I need to be, one recording, one episode, 1 week at a time. If this episode helped you feel a little lighter, a little calmer, and a little more focused, share it with a classmate who might need that same reminder. And remember, you don't have to do this perfectly. You just have to keep doing it. That's it. I do have a worksheet for you that's kind of connected to this podcast episode. I'll put it in the show notes if that's something that's helpful for you, that kind of just helps you work through all of the suggestions that I made in this episode to really help you work through your overwhelm. Okay. And you get better at working through your overwhelm every time you tackle it. It's so nice to be with you guys. I'm cheering for you every step of the way. Just keep going and keep growing. I'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye bye.